Chris Eubank Jr. still talking about fighting Gennady Golovkin. He was on Sky Sports talking to Johnny Nelson and Anna Woolhouse, saying the fight will happen in the next 12 months and that it has to happen. That's his response when Johnny Nelson asked him whether it was realistic. Eubank Jr. said it has to happen. And it is realistic because he says that Team Golovkin have reached out to his team, Team Sauerland, and expressed interest in the fight. I hope the fight gets made. I think that Golovkin at this stage of his career doesn't have too many super exciting fights on the horizon. There are the likes of Jamal Charlo, Jaime Munguia. I would like to see both of those fights before seeing him face Eubank Jr. But given the fact that they're, well, at least with the Charlo fight, a cross-promotional thing, that's probably unlikely at this stage. The Munguia fight more realistic, but Eubank Jr. versus Golovkin, I think stylistically is interesting, and Golovkin's not getting any younger, so if there is a chance for Eubank Jr. to pull off that win, it would be now, with Golovkin pushing 40 at this stage. So let's hope the fight gets made. Am I optimistic about it? No. Especially when you look at the fact that Eubank Jr. is fighting people like Sven Ilbir. That's now confirmed. Is he really going to go from the likes of him to fighting Golovkin? And I'm talking about from a business perspective, not what Eubank Jr. and Sauerland are thinking, but what Team Golovkin are thinking, what the network, DAZN, is thinking. Do they really want this Golovkin-Eubank Jr. fight? Is that high on their list of priorities for Gennady Golovkin right now? You know, as I said in a previous video, I think Eubank Jr. would be served well beating a name which is recognized in the United States if he wants that Golovkin fight. Like if he could get a win over Rosado, mentioned him before, that would help catapult him, I think, into a Golovkin fight or a Charlo fight or, you know, Jaime Munguia, any of those guys at middleweight. Without that, I'm not so sure. Murata, that might be a more realistic fight for him without having to beat a name in the United States, because of course Murata's Japanese, he's got a big following out in Japan. I'm sure that they could bring him over there, right? Let's say he beats Sven Ilbir. I'm sure they could bring him over there to Japan and it would be an easy sell because Murata's such a big star. But in the United States, I just feel like he's going to have to beat someone before they'll give him an opportunity. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below.